So in this episode, we had Stacy Peterson of the American Solar Grazing Association, and we got to talk all things agrivoltaics. And I thought I knew a lot about agrivoltaics, but I did learn quite a bit as well.
Yeah, listen, agrivoltaics involves sheep, it involves cattle, it involves bees.
and crops.
Yeah. Who knew? So folks should listen into this episode and learn a little bit more about how, especially we can encourage farmers to find a new revenue stream to keep their farms running over time. There's so many good reasons to do this. And it's awesome that there's an association out there that's doing the good work of connecting those dots.
Right. And building those relationships, right? Like, we need to work with agricultural communities no matter what. So, finding those co-benefits is really great. And I think we learned a lot about that in this episode. So Stacy Peterson, Executive Director of the American Solar Grazing Association. Thank you so much for being here. We are super excited to talk agrivoltaics. Let's start off sort of with 10,000 foot level here. Can you just describe what is agrivoltaics?
Sure. And thank you so much for having us. Agrivoltaics is the co-location of agriculture and solar.
Give us a couple of examples, sort of like help humanize that for people. Why does it matter? Why are people interested?
Sure. So I think what matters most is that this is something that really brings and keeps farmlands in farmer hands. And it looks a lot of different ways. It looks like agriculture can. So it can be sheep grazing, it can be cattle grazing, and solar. It can be growing crops. It can be pollinator habitat and beekeeping. And it can be any combination of all of those things.
Okay, back up.
Yeah.
I didn't realize. So I think of agrivoltaics as solar panels in a field and sheep walking around under them. They don't damage the base of the solar panel racking. But I didn't like what all the other things you said. Cattle, bees, is it the same framework?
Yeah. So the sheep are there to manage the vegetation. So with all of the solar that we've created around this country, we have hundreds of thousands of acres that need to be managed. We need to have people or sheep or animals that can manage that vegetation and manage the land. And so grazers are perfect for this. But you can also have pollinator habitat and you can have beekeeping on that site, and the sheep can manage that vegetation. So that can be integrated together. You can have parts of the array that have crop co-location. And so these things all go together very well, just like a farm would. A lot of farms don't have just one thing. So this is very common to farmers to know how to integrate these systems.
Sure. So sometimes it's not just combining solar and sheep. It's solar and sheep and bees and strawberries and gardening, that type of thing too. Cool.
Yes, absolutely.
Very cool. So let's take a step back on the American Solar Grazing Association. How did this sort of come about? What was the sort of genesis of the association as a whole?
Sure. It's been around for 17 years now. So it's one of the oldest groups that's worked in agrivoltaics, especially in the United States. It started in the eastern United States, and there were folks that had heard about the concept of grazing solar sites as a vegetation management service. And it grew out of that, out of several folks that were wanting to do it. And they had businesses that started it, and they started a trade organization for it. So ASGA is a trade association. We were farmer founded. And we have about 1,200 members now. And we work hand in hand with the solar energy industry. And so we do this to make folks be good partners to each other. So we want farmers and solar to work well together, and we want them to work well within the communities that they're a part of.
And what are you advocating for?
We're advocating for solar grazing and for agrivoltaics to be a common practice throughout the country.
When you're advocating for that, is it letting the agricultural community know, farmers know this is what the opportunity is? It's not necessarily policy advocacy. Is that right?
Sure. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that there can be policy advocacy that comes out of it. That's not specifically what we do as ASGA, but we do a lot of talking to both sides. We're talking to farmers about this opportunity, to rural communities about this opportunity, but also to solar. A lot of solar folks haven't heard of this either. So, here at this conference, we've got sheep downstairs under array, and it's the first time they heard of it, so it's just wonderful to get out and talk about this. We've made a lot of short films. We do case studies, everything we can to get the word out there and really show folks how this works.
Can you make the business case to farmers here on the show about what the benefits are to them for implementing this strategy?
Sure. So it would depend on your approach, but from, say, a solar grazing approach, this would be a way to have access to land. So all of these solar sites, like I mentioned, need these vegetation management people or land managers, and they have budgets for it. So you can have your sheep, you can grow the size of your operations, your flock on these solar sites while getting paid to be a vegetation manager. So there's that. You can also, make money from a solar lease on your land. Mm-hmm. So there's several ways to make money at this.
It's a revenue generator.
Yes.
Because it's a product and it's a cost savings from a land maintenance perspective.
Absolutely, yes. And it's offering access to land to farmers that might not otherwise have it, especially first generation farmers, folks that aren't inheriting that land, or maybe they have a smaller parcel of land and they want to really grow their operations. And it's nice, consistent income, and if it's a lease that they're getting the income from, they're going to get it for 20, 25 years. So this isn't just one time.
Yeah.
And same with the vegetation management. If that site's there for 20 years, you've got a very long scale to work.
And who do you typically find sort of what kinds of farmers are typically interested in agrivoltaics? Who's coming to you and being like, how do I get this? What do those folks look like?
All over the map. I really love seeing all of the folks that are younger that are interested in this. The average age of a U.S. farmer is 59 and a half years old. And we just did a census at ASGA last year, and the ages were much more in the 30s and 40s. And your typical U.S. farmer is male, too. Only 11% are female. And we're seeing a much, much higher, over half women in grazing. So I'm really loving to see the diversity there. And folks, the minute they hear about it, just get so excited. You can see all of the stacked benefits. You can see that there's an income. You can see that there's a path to having your farm be viable. This is something that folks get really, really excited about. So I have also heard, though, from a lot of folks that are entering retirement and their kids, maybe they've moved to the city, aren't going to be able to take care of the farm for a while. They don't know. Maybe they're going to put it in conservation, but they also look at solar grazing. They look at agrivoltaics. So that's when we get a call. So it's all over the map.
Cool. That's good to hear. And how about from the other side, what the solar companies that are coming to you, maybe what's your advice to them, or, what are they typically asking about too?
Sure. Yeah. So our advice to them now, because we've just really tried to dial in what we say, we just started a certification program specifically geared towards solar companies. We have one for solar grazers, and these are for folks that already know how to graze, but we want them to get ready to be on a solar site. And we just kicked one off for solar companies called What to Expect When You're Expecting Sheep. And they love it. And it's selling out across the country. We're doing this with the American Land Board. And so we're trying to really get them ready to have the sheep on their site, to look at this as a living system and how to be a good partner with the solar grazer. So we really have like a 3-day certification program ready for that. So there's not a quick answer, but there's a 3-day answer.
Sure.
If somebody hears this podcast, which they will, and they're interested in getting involved, where should they go to find more information? Like any advice you can give?
Yeah, so first off, I'm going to say go to ASGA. We're solargrazing.org.
Okay.
And so
that's what I was going to ask.
You go to our website,
solargrazing.org.
Yes, and you can join. You can be a member if you're a farmer. We have members for farmers. We also have memberships for solar companies, and then we have a lot of researchers that are part of our group, and we do support all agrivoltaics. So we have beekeepers that join, crop farmers, things like that. So we have a really strong connection to the whole agrivoltaic network and can lead you to other groups that are working in this space too. So depending on where you are regionally, we could probably make good recommendations.
I want to ask a harder question about sort of misinformation and politicization oftentimes that happens related to solar on farmland. How do you all combat that? What's your strategy there?
Are you meaning, for saying solar's coming for your farms?
Yeah, solar's coming for your farms.
So right. I think that probably one of my favorite things about agrivoltaics is we get to turn that on its head and say, no, farmers are coming to be a steward of your solar. This is keeping it in agricultural production,
right,
when done well. So I try to talk to folks about how this is not removing anything from farmland. This is not changing the landscape. This is not a solely industrial space. This is an agricultural space that is also producing energy. And that really changes the narrative pretty quickly, especially when, I think there's nothing better than a demonstration site
Mhm.
for people to go kick the tires on it and watch a farmer over the years. How does this work? Because they're putting their whole livelihood and their family's farm on this. I understand. So I think to have these sites around the country that people can go see how it works, what was the financials. I really try to show that. That's why we are so interested in doing the films
Mhm.
like we are.
I feel like you should start with the financials.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
lead
Right.
with it a lot, especially farm
This
viability.
is how much money
Right.
you can save. This
Yes.
is how
Yeah.
much money you can make.
Yes. This
Now
is how much
let's-
quicker your permitting
Right.
might come.
Exactly.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
So what's next? What's coming down the pipeline for ASGA?
Sure. So we are working right now on a next level certification. So our certifications have gone really well, and we're doing a much more in-depth series next year. So like a 201. The first one was a 101. So we're working on that. We did a 19-minute short film. We'll be showing it here at 5 o'clock downstairs. And it's a national overview of solar grazing. We'll be doing more regionally specific. We just released one for Texas solar grazing about 2 weeks ago. We'll be doing those around the country. And then some topical work, a lot of narrative work, a lot of case studies. We're going to try to look into doing tours and farm to tables.
Cool.
Try to really support our members in any way we can. So really grow our membership and see what they need for education and outreach.
Very cool.
What's your take on RE Plus? What's your take on the show?
Oh, it's just huge. It's just overwhelmingly large. I've come the last several years, and I'm always so impressed. And I really love the good energy. It's really high energy here, and everybody's just so positive. And I wondered this year, is it going to have a little bit of a doom and gloom? And it really doesn't. And so I've been really happy to see that.
Good. We love to hear it.
Yeah, I think we're all feeling that pretty much
Yeah,
too.
it feels good.
But it's also nice when there's stories like yours, like ASGA's, that like help shine a light on the solar industry, help
Yes.
provide that positive spin.
Yeah. People keep coming downstairs to see the sheep, and they are just overjoyed. And they're all taking selfies, and they're bringing their kids, and it's pretty fun. It's a pretty good interaction.
I'm going to go straight down there after this.
Yeah,
I haven't seen them yet.
I got to see them earlier today. We took a couple of videos as well. Of course,
Yeah.
I needed a selfie.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, it's some of my favorite content from years past.
Mhm.
I think the show in Anaheim last year, that was a really cool picture.
Yeah, and they were all outside too, which I think
Yeah.
makes it even cooler looking.
Right. Yeah. I think we're hoping next year to be outside again.
Well, awesome. Well, Stacey Peterson, thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you for having me.